What made him a great commentator?
Well, he did an incredible amount of research and work, and that you'll never, ever not be able to do that and be good. You've just got to put the work in. But he was also the most naturally brilliant and talented commentator you could get. So what a combination. He put in all the work, and he was naturally brilliant, talented, funny, and had a feel for the game. Perfect combination. And the other guy that's like that, and I used to say this to Den, the other guy that's like that, but in two totally different ways. He did all the hard work in a totally different way. Didn't do Den and Bruce, who I'm talking about, their homework and preparation were entirely different. And the natural flair was entirely different. Dennis was that metronome, the tick, 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 the beautiful smooth voice, rise when the big moment. Bruce was 1,000,000 miles an hour all the time. Everything was up, go, fast, stop, go, fast. Totally different commentary style. And then you get those two together in the commentary box on Friday nights for a period of 5 years. And for people like us, Hutto, magnificent. Dwayne, magnificent. Paps, magnificent. This crop, brilliant. But we will never, ever get two so brilliant and so talented, but with such different styles, together again like that. We were all blessed to have those years.
It's a great
It's
shout.
elite. Yeah. What did you sort of learn from Dennis in that preparation stuff? Because I've seen commentators with their books and their fine writing, and it's all. What sort of stuff did you pull from him for your prep?
And it's funny. So Dan showed me what he used to do. Sometimes you could over prepare, sometimes you could under prepare. I think the thing that's most important, and he's know the players. If you know the players, everything else sort of flows from there. Dan also had his humour and had his, obviously the Cometti-isms as they became known.
There's a book here somewhere. We've got him.
And funny, because Dan wasn't especially, Dan almost got a bit shy about those. Like, he liked them in the moment because obviously he put some work into them. But he was almost a bit, like, by the end, and I know he said, and this is something that would not be as immediately obvious. So everybody that lauded Dan thought the brilliant lines were brilliant, right? Dan, I think, was almost a bit worried that, have I made this almost a parody? Is that what I'm going to be remembered for? But, of course, us mere mortal football fans, we just loved the whole package, didn't we? That was the cream on the top. He had the beautiful voice, and that was the other part of it. He'd done all the homework. He had the feel for the game. He called the big moments so well, and he had those brilliant lines. But Dan was a little bit worried. I'll tell you something else about the two. So, on and off for 25 years, Dan and Bruce stayed at the Grand Hyatt in Melbourne, in Collins Street, from Friday to Sunday, almost every weekend for 30 weeks of the year. Do you know, in 30 years of staying at the same hotel, almost every weekend, I said to Dan early doors when I was starting to travel with him, so Bruce would be there, and Lee. So that was the 7-team hotel. So all the guys that were travelling would stay there. But honing in on Bruce, because they were the callers, they had the rhythm together, they had the great connection. Now, how often do you catch up with Bruce for breakfast? This is about the 26-year mark at this stage when I asked the question. She said, yeah, we had breakfast once. Yeah, we had breakfast once. Okay. How often do you catch up for dinner? Annie was over, Bruce's wife, and V was here once, and we had dinner once. I said, you meet in the lounge. No, not really. And that was part of the strength of their relationship. And I would watch them because I was often riding with Den. Would go to Friday night games because I was calling the next day. I might just go with him. And so they operated entirely separately to one another. They did speak during the week from time to time, yes. But they weren't talking to each other every week. Oh, that was great call, then good stuff. Oh, that was brilliant. I loved it when you said that. Oh, you too, Bruce. When you call, there was none of that with
best
them.
Friends.
They would come together on match day and be incredibly brilliant and natural together. And here's the other thing. So they both stayed at the Grand Hyatt. It's a 7.5-minute drive. Maybe in traffic it's 15 minutes on a Friday night. They would have their own drivers. They would go at separate times, they would arrive separately, and they would leave separately. And maybe that was the great secret or strength of their relationship. They loved and respected one another, but they weren't in each other's pockets. And I tell you, speaking of great days of my life, late last year, Bruce messaged me, said, I'm coming to town. can you organise Den? Like, funny, I was almost, can you organise Den? Let's go for lunch.
Text Ellis.
Yeah. Well, no, he did, but, can you organise Den? Knowing that probably I'd make it happen. And yes, and we had lunch at a restaurant in the city, and for 2 or 3 hours, again. So this is the two great men back together. Some reminiscing. I was lucky to have been on the journey with them at the tennis and the footy, and so I'm a bit part of it, but not one of them, if you know what I mean. I am, but I'm not, and would never pretend to be. And I remember posting a photo on Instagram or Twitter that night. It was the three of us, and I think it was sitting at the table. Let's go. You'd know this. Anyone in our profiles knows it. Feedback comes thick and fast on social media. We love the good and the bad, and in the spaces that I've entered into, there's a lot of it that's on the negative side. No problem for me. I can handle it all. But I reckon of my posts over the last 5 years, that photo with some little line that I wrote, what a catch up this was today. The most hits I've had in a year, and every single comment was to the effect of the great men back together. Wow, what I would have given to be sitting at that table just listening to those two talk. And we are blessed to have had those two together for as long as we did in the one commentary box.
That was just a little teaser of our full episode. They're out Wednesdays on YouTube, and you can listen to them wherever you get your podcast. Go on, get out of here.